rock never stops. Um, I just wanted to jump on here, talk some Pistons talk, but also want to talk the NBA because right now I think it's a good time to check in with the off season and how the off season is looking. Um, there's a lot of teams making moves. There's a lot of teams not only making moves, but there's a lot of teams that are reshuffling their positionality within the rankings of their conference. In other words, they aren't standing still. Where they ended last season is not necessarily where they're positioning themselves to be this season. And so I kind of want to do a little bit of a recap and a review for the teams that are doing some interesting things. I know I've touched on it a little bit, throughout my last few lives. Just different teams and organizations that are shifting, growing, doing some cool things. And then I've also talked about some teams that this summer league are showing me that they've got something. They have something to keep an eye on, and that means they're doing something positive, and you're seeing it within the young players' development and growth, like the Washington Wizards. And I'm going to get into them in a little bit. But first, let me start off with my Detroit Pistons right now. Just a quick review of this offseason. I always say that teams that have to make major wholesale changes are generally teams that are struggling. That's not a good sign if you're having to make major wholesale changes. It's dope when you can make a major acquisition, right? Going out and getting a Kevin Durant. But it's not good if you're having to make two, three, four, five moves all in different areas trying to address all these leaking holes in the boat. That's not a good sign because you still have to figure out, well, did it work? Did what I do here work? Did what I do here work? Did what I do? And now all of a sudden you're checking nonstop all season. You're not necessarily growing from a space of understanding of who you are and what you can expect. Now you're just kind of playing your cards and sitting back and saying, "All right, let's see what happens." Let's start off with the Detroit Pistons. Um, I've consistently said, and I think I've been proven right over and over and over and over again, that between Troy Weaver and Trajan Langdon, and we have to give Trajan Langdon props for the last draft of Ron Holland um, and Bobby Clement, because even though he didn't get signed, he didn't get to the Pistons until basically the beginning of June. Um, he still made the correct pick by the end of June, right? And of course, Troy Weaver probably was doing a lot of the legwork there, and we got to give him props for the work that he did because he's been an excellent assessor of talent. He's done an amazing job of bringing in high end talent and making key decisions. Remember, uh, it was a real conversation who was going to be the number one pick with Cade Cunningham. It was a real conversation between Jalen Green and Evan Mobley. He went with Cade Cunningham. People forget, right? Revisionist history. It was a real discussion if we were going to take Benedict Mathurin or Jaden Ivey. We took Ivy. It was a real discussion if we were going to take Jarris Walker, who I initially really wanted, or Asar Thompson. I think there were a couple other forwards as well. What's his name in Utah? Uh, but it's to say that we took the right player, right? Troy Weaver selected the right guy. Even picking up Marcus Sasser, right? Moving up to get Jalen Duren, right? He's made some key moves. And so even though it's easy to point out the misses, right, and focus on that, you can't discount the hits. And his hits way outweigh the misses, which is why he has another job in New Orleans to rebuild that franchise, right? All it's to say is the Detroit Pistons are in an incredible position right now. Great position. The talent that they have on that team, uh, bar none, is absolutely elite. Absolutely elite. And I think that we're seeing it more and more and more as Ron Holland and Bobby Clement have put on weight, muscle weight. They've worked on their lower body strength, which shows in their rebounding, their physicality, their defensive attention. It's really setting a standard for the young guys within the summer league. Um, they've hit. They have hit, hit, hit on nonstop gambles. And drafting is a gamble because you look at how many players don't work out. It's a gamble, and they've hit. They've hit it big. And the reason why they hit it big is because they got a bunch of guys that look like they could be future all stars. No cap, 100%. Right? I told you. I mean, man, 100 grand. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna call it how I see it. If I get it wrong, I get it wrong. I ain't scared to get it wrong. You know what I mean? I ain't worried about that at all. Right over here. I'm not worried about getting it wrong. But when I get it right, give me my props. I called Ron Holland last summer. He looks like an all-star level talent. Like the leaps and bounds he's taken just by improving his body, fine-tuning his jump shot, right? Making little tweaks. He doesn't have to make major overhauls. There's not major holes in his game. He looks like he could become a future all-star. That's 5 guys on this team that look like they could be future all-stars. Bobby Clinton might be a better passing, taller Cam Johnson. Right? You still got my man Marcus Sasser, who I still believe in. Yes, I still believe. I'm holding out hope. I am of the Marcus Sasser bandwagon. Put me at the front. All right. I was at the front of the Asar Thompson bandwagon last season. Even though I thought they were supposed to go after Jarris Walker, I thought he would have been a perfect fit at the power forward position. His defense and versatility and skill set, all those different things, toughness, length, all that stuff. Asar Thompson by far is the bigger talent. And all of a sudden, it's like, shoot, okay, got it. And the moment I saw it, the moment I saw him in summer league, I was like, oh, my fault. I wasn't knowing. I wasn't knowing, and I had to adjust. Same thing with Jaden Ivey. I was like, man, is this dude really a guard? Definitely not a point guard. Look at what he's turning, dribbling it off his foot. I was frustrated. I was pointing out stuff that needed to be pointed out. And then Monty Williams came and shammed him, put him on the bench. I understood it. I understood it. So I was sitting back trying to trust, trying to observe the process. And there came a point where I had to sit with this dude is far too talented. He is far too talented. And by the time he finally got inserted into that starting lineup, it became apparent. Then we have this season, and he's shown through. And it's like, you know what? I've had to adjust. So I don't mind getting it wrong. I get it wrong. But when I get it right, give me my props. The Detroit Pistons have an incredible core of talent. By far, bar none, the best in the league. They have the best young core of talent in the league. It's not even close. There is not a collection of 5 guys under the age of 23 who are more talented than Duran, Ivy, Asar, Cade, and Ron Holland. Honorable mention, Bobby Clinton. There is not. You go to Orlando. Orlando's got 1, 2, 3, and then you kind of okay. Oklahoma City's got 1, 2, J Dub, Chet, and then it's like Kaysen, okay, that's most teams. Most teams got 1 or 2 young guys. You can look at Portland. Portland right now, I'm going to talk about in a little bit. They've got Scoot. I'm a big Scoot believer. Big Scoot believer. Expect a big year from him next year. Scoot, Shaden Sharp. Shaden Sharp, yo, oh my God. Oh my God. His bounce, oh my God. He's like Desmond Mason, Isaiah Ryder, just crazy over that rim. Crazy. He's just got tweaks that he's got to make. And then I definitely like Hanson Yang. Hanson Young, or I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but Hanson Yang, he looks legit to me. We had a whole conversation on X about this in one of the spaces. I think he's going to take Donovan Klingen's spot. But hey, I rave on the Pistons more than enough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through different teams. I'm gonna talk about them, and then feel free to let me know in the comment section what you think about those teams also. and what they're doing this offseason, because I think it's good for us to review from time to time, because it allows us to really have an accurate assessment, not just of ourselves, but also ourselves in relation to the rest of the NBA community and what's taking place. So, as always, I want to make sure that I got my phone here so I can have the rosters to pull up. Hopefully, Hoop Reference has updated the rosters. I feel like they've been slacking a little bit on a good update. It needs to be updated. Let me see. Let's start with the Atlanta Hawks. Do they have the update here? Yeah, okay. They've got the update. Good job. All right, Hoop Reference. So let's get it in. All right. Let me first start the Detroit Pistons. I said I would start there. I love what they're doing this offseason. The guys who are developing have developed. They're stepping into their own. They are showing that they are more than ready to come in next season and play major roles. I think very quickly Ron Holland is going to become our sixth man. He fits too easily. Coming in to be able to come in behind Tobias Harris, eh, what he can do for our defense, transition game, um, our ability to put pressure on the other team in terms of getting downhill, getting to the free throw line. I think he's going to get to the free throw line a lot. And his improved 3-point shooting, which has been apparent throughout Summer League. I think he's going to be a major addition for us and could easily end up being our sixth man. Initially, I had him as our eighth or ninth man before the Summer League. I was like, look, I tend to be a little modest in my projections. And I said to myself, you know what? I think he'll probably end up being uh, behind Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert. Those will be your first two veterans off the bench. And then you'll have Isaiah Stewart behind Duran. And then you'll have Ron Holland come in. And then probably Marcus Sasser. That would be the 10. And I thought they would be incredibly deep. And then potentially a spot for Bobby Clement as the 11th guy. What's good? What's good, Robert? What's good, man? But after the Summer League, and I see just how strong Ron Holland has gotten, like physically strong, meaning that he's going to be able to guard forwards. He's going to be able to guard up, which is going to allow Cade and Ivy to stay down around that guard position, which is going to allow this team to play really big, positionally big, even if it's not at the center position. Now, you're not too late, Robert. You're not too late. Let me get to some of these comments though. Trajan and Troy locked in. Facts. Monty was a big problem. Facts. There we go. Hold on, player. I'm on the Sasser bandwagon too. And you know what? You and me both, Weezy. We could be at the front of the list. Big Frank, I like Sasser. There's a good stock. There's good stock down in Houston. Facts. Facts. University of Houston spits out hoopers, but not just hoopers. They spit out dogs. If you come out of the University of Houston, you a dog. You're gonna compete, and you're a bucket, and you're a bucket. It's my favorite kind of player, right? My favorite kind of player. A dog in a bucket. A dog in a bucket. Quentin Grimes is a dog in a bucket. Jamal Sheed, a dog in a bucket. Marcus Sasser, Jarris Walker, a dog in a bucket. I love those kind of guys. I love those kind of guys. Let me see. Orlando, like Anthony Black, they're about to put a lot on his plate. I think he deserves. Honestly, let me keep it a band with you. That offense needs to be revamped, and I think what they really need to do is put the ball in Anthony Black's hands. He's a natural facilitator. He is Ricky Rubio esque. He's a guy who can orchestrate things. He's like Lonzo Ball in a lot of ways, where he's constantly looking to set guys up. They need to revamp that offense, taking Paulo Banchero off the ball. And I'm going to get into that more later on. Take Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner off the ball. Put them in more motion actions where they're moving off the ball, quick post up, pin downs, down screens, getting what's his name, Desmond Bain, off the catch and shoot, right? Dribble handoffs. I need to see guys moving, and I want Anthony Black with the ball in his hands, distributing and setting guys up. I think that can improve their offense in a major way. Also, it'll spark things in terms of getting out in transition. But the problem is you got Jalen Suggs kind of, moonlighting as a point guard, and then you have Desmond Bain. And the reality is Jalen Suggs might be more of a sixth man or off guard than he is a lead guard, a setup guard. And so that's something that I think they will have to work out. If Jalen Suggs sits at all and Anthony Black steps into that starting point guard role, I think very quickly they're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. But we'll see. There's also a good chance that they bring Desmond Bain off the bench, right? If need be, if they have to figure out that Anthony Black, Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bain trio. Um, but yeah, I'll get into some more of that later as well. But I'll tell you what. If you guys are bringing up a team, I'll tell you what, because this is an interactive live chat. You bring up the team you want me to talk about, and we could talk about it. Because you already brought up Orlando, and what was the other team you brought up? Um, yeah. So okay. Let's dig in a little bit. Let me finish up with the Pistons, and then we'll get into the Magic. Um, yeah, Pistons are in a great position. They have a lot of assets, a lot of young guys, a lot of talent, a lot of depth. And they also are coming off of a great turnaround. So there's a lot of confidence flowing through that team. And there seems to be great chemistry. And it's an amazing thing when your best player is at the forefront of your team's chemistry and pulling guys together. Uh, I love what Trajan has done this offseason, upgrading the shooters to more versatile players who can do more than just catch and shoot, put the ball on the floor, have better positional size to guard along the perimeter. I think that's going to allow us to neutralize a lot of what our competition is doing on the perimeter in terms of like the New York Knicks or even the Cleveland Cavaliers, where we can hit them with waves of size on the perimeter to take away 3-point shooting and to still be able to rebound and get out in transition. Um, I think we are in an excellent spot, and I'm looking forward to seeing the jump. I'm looking forward to seeing the jump, but I keep saying JB Bickerstaff is going to have his hands full with how does he make the most of all the talent? Can he create an offensive system that maximizes all the talent, not just some of the talent, not just Cade, heliocentric basketball, and everybody plays off and around him. If that ends up being the offense next season, expect potentially his days to be numbered. I'm gonna be honest with you because we recognize that style does not work. Just doesn't. Guys wear down. It's too easy to game plan for. You need versatile players in different positions who can all be a threat, and you need an offensive system such as the Indiana Pacers were running, right? Moving that ball around. Each guy starring in their role and playing at a maximum that allows you to get the most out of each and every position on your team. So no matter how you match up, you potentially always have a mismatch in any given area, and then you just exploit it. So that's what I'm looking forward to next season. I think Ron Holland can end up being our sixth man. Isaiah Stewart might end up being our seventh guy, and then Duncan Robinson, Karis LeVert, Marcus Sasser, or Bobby Clement. It's going to be that type of 11. All right, let's get to the other team that you brought up. We're going through the NBA offseason. We're going through, we won't hit every team, but we're going to get a lot of teams. Um, yeah, so you bring up the team that you want me to talk about next in the chat, and I'm going to go from there. My man, make sure I get the right name on here who brought up the Orlando Magic. Yeah, Wheezy, D313 brought up the Magic. So we're going to go to the Magic, and then we're going to go from there. Lanier has a really good, yeah, yeah, has an amazing 3-point stroke. But I think it's going to take him a while to break through the lineup because he's just not better than Duncan Robinson. And still talking about the Pistons there. Main problem with Orlando is Paulo, Franz, and Suggs are all bad shooters. I don't think they're bad shooters. I think they get bad quality of shots because the offensive system doesn't create a lot of looks, and the looks that they're getting aren't necessarily the ones that they should be taking. Like, it should be somebody else in that role. So in other words, And I would say a best case scenario offense is you have a high level facilitator who can find the guys in their spots. Franz Wagner moving off the ball, Paulo Banquero getting on the block or getting to that free throw line where he can catch that ball, face, and attack, and being able to see the floor on both sides. He should be then either distributing to the shooters for wide open shots or looking to create against a one-on-one a defender. But Anthony Black should be the one initiating, right? Hitting guys in the open areas, orchestrating things. That should not be Paulo or Franz. From that position, they start off out of position. And so they're always behind and being in the right position in the offense, which is why they're always being pulled into low quality shots. Even though they score at a decent clip, they they're not playing to their strengths. Let me put it that way. Jalen Suggs should be more of an off ball guy. He should be. Catch and shoot, catch and straight line drive attack. He could do a little bit of shot creation, but he's not necessarily somebody you want to depend upon to generate a lot of offense, especially considering the load that he has on the defensive end. But I think their defense alone is going to allow them to be a top five team. Um, I think that's where I have them on my list. If triple check my list. Eastern Conference, Eastern Conference rankings. So I got the Magic. So I have the Magic in a grouping amongst the Pistons, Celtics, Hawks, Raptors, Pacers, Magic, Bucks, and Sixers. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Woo. So from 2 through 10, I keep saying the difference between not 2 through 10, 3 through 10. The difference between being a third seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs and a number three seed versus play in at the number 10 can be anywhere between 3 to 5 games. The difference, it's going to be small. It's going to be small. Maybe at the top, it'll be a difference between 1 to 3 wins, right? 47 win, 45 and 45 win, 44 win, 48 win, right? All right there. Boom, 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 boom. And that's how the rankings play out. Whether you have home court in the playoffs, which I think the Pistons should be shooting for, is home court through the first round. Um, versus being a play in, you might be at 44, 45, 43, maybe 42, 46, right? Like right in there, all of a sudden is 7, 8, 9, 10. That's what it's going to look like. I think Orlando is going to be in that grouping. They can be anywhere as high as 3 or 4, right there with the Pistons, or probably down to about 6 or 7. That's where I have them. It's always, knock on wood, barring injury for these teams. Because if you have injuries, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Um, let me get to the next team. Okay. Uh, this guy said there's a chance they bring Bane off the bench. Because a lot of it. Also, keep in mind of this. Many times there's an injury that happens. So, for example, with the Houston Rockets last season, I don't know if you remember this, but Jabari Smith Jr. gets hurt. Amin Thompson gets inserted into the starting lineup. He never leaves. He never leaves. Something clicks and it reshuffles everything. It had nothing to do with if Jabari Smith Jr. is good. It had nothing to do with if he was necessarily the best. I think by the end of the season, he ended up as the best player on the Houston Rockets team. I thought that was very clear, especially in the playoffs. But it's to say that sometimes it's about what works, right? Just like the Draymond Green back in the day, and David Lee gets hurt, or maybe it was Bogut or one of the. I think it was David Lee that got hurt. I should know this, but it was 20, like it was a crazy long time ago, 15 years ago, right? 10 years ago. Um, but David Lee gets hurt. Draymond Green gets inserted into the starting lineup, never looks back, right? Never comes back out. David Lee never gets back into the starting lineup. David Lee was an all-star. He was a 20 and 10 guy, but it clicked with Draymond Green. That could easily happen in that trio with Anthony Black, Jalen Suggs, and Desmond Bain. Remember, Desmond Bain is the newcomer. He's a newcomer. Anthony Black was already there. Anthony Black is a 6'7", 6'8" defensive facilitating point guard. There's a bit of an overlap between Desmond Bain and Jalen Suggs in terms of off-ball shooting. Desmond Bain is elite at off-ball shooting. Catch and shoot, on the move, dribble handoff, even gets downhill. But there's some overlap with Jalen Suggs, who also likes to do dribble handoffs, get downhill, straight line drives, catch and shoot. But he's also amazing on defense. So if one of those guys falls out and the other one steps in and it clicks, expect Mobley, head coach Mobley, to stick with that lineup. Desmond Bain could end up coming off the bench. Yes. Let me see. Desmond Bain come off the bench. He's too good. He is very good, but he may end up being a better sixth man for that roster. Um, Let me see. Doug McMenamin. Doug was good, man. You know, I am so glad you brought up the Bucks. Bucks got Turner and Giannis, but what did they give up? Okay, let me get to the Bucks. Let me get to the Bucks. Because the Milwaukee Bucks, I think, may end up surprising people. They brought in Miles Turner, able to keep Gary Trent Jr. I like the Mark Sears and Ryan Rollins pickup. But these guys, Mark Sears especially, is unproven yet in the NBA. Maybe back of the roster. Probably maybe even end up in the G League. But listen to the rest of this team. They got Giannis. They got Kyle Kuzma. AJ Green, Andre Jackson, Tyler Smith. I like him. Gary Harris, Kevin Porter Jr., Bobby Portis, Torian Prince, Ryan Rollins, Gary Trent, Miles Turner. Now, here's the thing. Starting lineup is probably going to end up being Miles Turner, Giannis, Kyle Kuzma. Then it's probably going to go Gary Trent Jr. and Kevin Porter Jr. Now, here's the thing. Bane coming off the bench. Who cares? Man, you heard my argument, man. You heard my argument, man. And I appreciate, you know, how you feel about it, but you know, it is what it is. I've seen other things happen. Seen plenty of guys, right? Andre Iguodala was an all-star. He was an Olympian. Uh, what first, second team, all defense, right? Harrison Barnes and Klay Thompson were who? Completely unproven, nowhere near the accolades, but it clicked and it worked with him coming off the bench, right? I don't care how good you think Desmond Bain is. He's not better than Andre Iguodala. Great shooter. There's a whole lot more to the game of basketball than shooting. Iguodala, in his prime, when he got to the Warriors, was in his prime, ended up coming off the bench. That is not unheard of. Let's not pretend like Desmond Bain is a multiple-time All-Star and there's no way you can bring him off the bench. Right? Desmond Bain isn't even as good as prime Bradley Beal, right? Who has a greater case for I should never be brought off the bench. Right? Like, I don't even know if Desmond Bain has made an All-Star game. Has he? Has he? So careful. Careful before we just act like a guy could never. I'm not saying he ain't good. I'm just saying never. Never. Never, ever. Nah. Let me get back to the Bucks though. I like this roster. I like the roster. And I always when I talk about a roster, I look at guys that are certified. Guys that are 100% certified. 100% like you know what you're going to get from them at an NBA level. at an NBA level. Not they did really well in college. They shown sparks in the G League. They did really good in garbage time. I'm talking about guys who have shown up in big moments consistently over the course of their career. You know what you're going to get from them. When it comes to Milwaukee Bucks, they have one, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kyle Kuzma, that's two. Gary Harris, that's three. Bobby Portis, that's four. Torian Prince, that's five. Gary Trent, that's six. Miles Turner, that's seven. They have seven guys who are NBA certified players. You know what you're going to get from them. You can rely upon it. You can stake it. Boom. We got this. In fact, I think there's going to be real competition between Gary Harris and Gary Trent Jr. For that starting shooting guard spot. Gary Trent Jr. is a better shooter, but I think Gary Harris is competent enough and a far superior defender and leader and does a lot of intangible stuff. He might be a better fit next to Kevin Porter Jr. But here's the thing. They have a few, I guess you call it asterisks, but they're the wild cards. Wild cards. They have two wild cards, and I want to talk a little bit about them. The first one, the most important one, is Kevin Porter Jr. I've said for a while, Kevin Porter Jr. is as certified of an elite level talent as there comes in the NBA. When I say this, one second, plug in my phone so it doesn't die. When I say that he is an elite talent, he has skills and abilities that are rare that they come in the same package. He has the type of skill and talent of a Penny Hardaway. It's no cap. I'm not fronting, not gassing him. 100% has the talent of a Penny Hardaway. Leave the show tonight. Thanks for the escape. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, man. Let me know what team you want me to cover next. I think I saw Toronto Raptors. After this, after I talk about the Bucks, and then we're gonna talk about the Raptors. Oh, leading Lions was good, man. We always good. You think we're using the trade exception sign? No, expect a lot of the cap to be held on to for the trade deadline for the Pistons. Bucks got turned on this board. Yeah. Not worried about them letting go of Dame. I think that needed to happen. They need to infuse some fresh energy. It's going to be a gamble. It's going to be a gamble. But if Kevin Porter Jr. can sustain showing up consistently for the Bucks, he doesn't need to be great. He just needs to be consistent. If they get 75 games out of Kevin Porter Jr. at the starting point guard position, they will be a top 6 team. Period. Now, there's still word on the street that Cole Anthony is working on a buyout from the Memphis Grizzlies and trying to make his way towards the Milwaukee Bucks, which I can completely see because they need a spark plug type of scorer off the bench. But he has the type of ability, Kevin Porter Jr., speaking about, that can literally, he can turn his career around and be on the trajectory to become an all-star. Like legitimately. I don't say that about a lot of guys. I don't. His combination of ball handling skill, passing, footwork, floor vision, uh, feel for the game, right? He has a great kind of change of pace, feel for the game where he can find openings and cracks and create openings and cracks in a defense at an incredible level. He creates seams that only guys like Kyrie get into, right? That the few are able to make and create. He makes those on a regular basis. Playing around Giannis is going to allow him to, one, see a level of professionalism and leadership that I think he's going to fall in line with. Having guys like having a head coach like Doc Rivers, really like father figure, a real father figure. I think that could be a powerful relationship. Powerful. This could be the type of team that, similar to like Dennis Rodman with the Detroit Pistons, a family that surrounds him, and then he plays his best basketball and looks amazing and has a great career. Kevin Porter Jr. can find that in Milwaukee. You combine that with his athleticism, end to end speed with the ball in his hands, his incredible first step. His first step is crazy, crazy quick. And at 6'5", I think he's got like a 6'9", maybe 6'10" wingspan. And he's got incredible vert, like quick vert, like he's quick bouncy. If he puts all that together, he's an all-star level player. Playing next to Giannis, you could begin to potentially see the potential for them to then have a new core moving into the playoffs. Now, there's also word on the street. There's rumblings. There's rumblings. Look. Hey, I'm just calling what I heard. What I heard. You feel me? Just what I heard. They might be looking at RJ Barrett. If this team can flip Torian Prince, maybe a Ryan Rollins, Gary Harris, Tyler Smith, any number of those guys, for an RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett to me is like a Chris Middleton, a guy that just keeps getting better. Remember to like everybody. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yes, definitely smash the like button for me. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing. It makes a big difference, um, even though it just takes a second. But I definitely appreciate that. The channel appreciates that. This community appreciates that, and we appreciate you being a part of this community. Appreciate you kicking it with me on a Sunday evening in the middle of summertime. You can be doing other things with your time, so I appreciate you being here. I really do. Um, let's just say Kevin Porter Jr. puts it all together, and then they go out and get somebody like RJ Barrett. They might have a legit three around Giannis, a similar type three: Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis. Not the same, but a collection of talents that fit and work together that allow them to operate around Giannis Antetokounmpo, that allows him to hit his peak, that allows him to put them over the top. I think Kyle Kuzma also falls in line this season. And so I don't think he's necessarily a wild card for them. I just think he falls in line. He gets that LeBron energy from Giannis, and it's like, okay, let me find my role and make the most of my role. I'm getting paid, but now it's time to win. All right, getting 22 million next season, 20 after that. I'm gonna be an unrestricted free agent in 2 years. I got 2 years to recoup my value throughout this league because he didn't do himself any favors with how he played in Washington. He showed he had more offense to his game. Right? He showed he had a lot of ability, but they didn't win. He didn't look like a leader. He didn't look like a part of a winning thing. He has an opportunity to be a part of winning again with his talent as a 6'10" forward who's athletic, who can score off the bounce, who can shoot threes off the move, catch and shoot, right? Get downhill. He's an extremely versatile, talented player, definitely worth over 20 million a year. But he has to back that up in a winning situation because if he doesn't, well, at 29 years old, and then he'll be 30 when he's an unrestricted free agent, more than likely teams are going to look at him a little bit differently. And he may not get that big last contract of your career, right? All that's to say, I expect him to fall in line. But the other player that I would say is the wild card for the Milwaukee Bucks is Andre Jackson Jr. Andre Jackson Jr. Man, he he's like a more athletic Josh Hart. Maybe not the passer, but he's the guy 6'5", 6'6", like a Bruce Brown. He's just he could do so many things for you on the defensive end, rebounding, loose balls, versatile defender, get out in transition, guard the perimeter, guard the interior, block shots on the weak side, get key steals, get on the floor. He does so many things at such a high level, applying that level of athleticism to it and his physicality and his IQ for the game, that all he has to do is get a serviceable 3-point shot, which it looks like he's found in this summer league. If he gets that three ball, he now becomes a mainstay in that rotation. He leapfrogs Torian Prince in the rotation. When I look at the starting five, Kevin Porter Jr., I'm just throwing out what's likely. Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., Kyle Kuzma, Giannis, Miles Turner. Off the bench, Bobby Portis, Gary Harris, and then probably Ryan Rollins. But then if you have Andre Jackson, 23 years old, and let's say, mm, look, I'm not going to go too far into it. Torian Prince, also off the bench at 31 years old, should be solid enough. But if Andre Jackson can be reliable, if he can be a player for them, if he can knock down shots while doing everything he does defensively, he gives them a dynamic off the bench that can allow them to defend, especially along the perimeter, in a way that allows them to buoy maybe the lack of experience and the lack of high end perimeter defenders that they currently have. Gary Harris and Andre Jackson are probably the best perimeter defenders on that team. Kevin Porter Jr. is not. Gary Trent Jr. is not. Kyle Kuzma is, we'll see what type of effort he gives defensively. All that's to say is they have some kind of wild cards that they have to see how it plays out. But if it does, it could be the difference between being a 4, 5, 6 seed versus a 7, 8, 9, 10 seed. All right. Let me move on. I don't want to spend too much time. I believe someone brought up the Raptors. I'm sneaky high on that team. Joseph, what's good, man? What's good, man? I'm gonna go with the Raptors and who's up? Who's on deck? Who's on deck? Do you think that's a pitiful argument? Sometimes it is a pitiful argument, man. But it's my argument. Give me yours, and we'll definitely talk about it. Asked if, ESPN guys asked if Twins ever achieved first team defensive status. We just might see it. Fact between Asar and Amen Thompson. I wouldn't be shocked, but I do also think Amen Thompson is about to step into a much larger offensive role, which might reduce his defensive effort. But then again, considering you got Kevin Durant, Fred VanVleet, Alperen Şengün, the two guys they'll depend upon the most to be high level defenders are probably going to be Jabari Smith Jr. and Amen Thompson in that starting lineup. So I think he keeps it up at least for another year or two. So there's a good chance next season Amen Thompson and Asar Thompson are both first team all defense. But you know what I was actually really disappointed by is that the Thompson twins didn't give more effort in that uh the Rising Stars Challenge, where the winning team from that team got to play in the All-Star game round robin tournament. I thought that would have been so much fun to see the Twins lead a team out of the Rising Stars into the All-Star game and infuse so much energy, so much focus of attack. All the effort that we tend to say that the All-Star game lacks. I think that they could have brought that in spades and just been going at cats. Like for real, like just full court pickup, and all of a sudden they're like, LeBron's like, man, who the hell is get this dude, get away from me, bro. You know what I mean? And Ahmed and Asar are just like, I don't care. We're gonna trap you, LeBron, at 82 feet away from the basket. You know what I mean? Like, and then recover. They have that type of ability. And so hopefully this year they get all-star nods or they find their way at least on the all defensive team. Get some water, mommy. Uh Toronto Raptors. Keeping it pushing. Remember, put the team that you want me to talk about next. Whoever lists a team next, we're gonna go with that first. Kevin Porter Jr., the lead talent. Yes, sir. Skills. Uh, yep. I'm not trolling, Robin. Man, you on my top today, Ed. You on my top today. Haven't seen Penny play. You must be talking about Phoenix Suns Penny. Man, Andrew Love, I actually followed Penny coming out of Memphis, man, and the whole draft process to get to Orlando and watched him ball out. What I want you to do is take a look at Kevin Porter Jr. I'm talking about talent. I'm not talking about productivity, right? Remember, Kevin Porter Jr. Uh, was dealing with a lot coming in after only 1 year at USC. Penny was at the University of Memphis for several years. I think he was came out after his junior or senior year, had a different headspace, different level of maturity. Kevin Porter Jr. has been through a lot. I'm not going to bring up his stuff, but it's to say that he struggled throughout his career in Cleveland, Houston, right? Got into some stuff, and now he's trying to redeem his career in Milwaukee, right? So I'm not talking about they're the same player in terms of up here between the ears, which is many times the difference between having a long career or a short career. I'm saying skill and talent, level of athleticism, right? That vertical athleticism, quick twitch, first step, high end to end speed, ball handling, passing, shooting ability, shot creation. You look at all those things. I challenge you to look at Kevin Porter Jr.'s highlights of what he's doing, what he's showing he can do. There's a reason why they give him chance after chance after chance. There's a reason. Okay. Let me see. Does everybody believe the Cavs are the best in the East? Okay. Okay. So that's going to be next after we talk about the Raptors. We're going to talk about the Cavs. And I think that that's a good team to kind of also take a look at because, I mean, they were blowing out the East last year. And then, of course, they had injuries. Injuries, look, ain't nothing you can do about it. If you're not healthy in the playoffs, you're not advancing, period. Period. But I respect Cleveland for doubling down because you don't have a 60 plus win team or high 50s and you're blowing out everyone in the Eastern Conference, number one seed, and then all of a sudden trade away a core player. I don't care if it is Jarrett Allen, right? I don't care if it's an injury plagued Darius Garland, right? You keep that thing together for as long as possible. I always thought Atlanta Hawks did a horrible job. They won, what was it, 61 games or something like that. Al Horford, Paul Millsap, um, Damari Carroll, Jeff Teague, and I want to say they had who was the shooter? Kyle Korver, and then they had Dennis Schroeder off the bench, right? And they won 61 games. They got blown out the water by LeBron James, and they just blew the team up. I was like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?" Because how long it takes you to get to that point? That's hard. That's not easy to get to that point. Mommy, drink some water. Sorry, I got kids play. Um, but yeah, double down on that team. But I'm gonna get to them after the Toronto Raptors. Let me get to this squad right now. All right, so uh, Edward, okay. I'm gonna get back to your points on Kevin Porter Jr. Give me your argument in the chat, and Andrew Love is joining you. Okay, you got your burner account and your active account running. All right, or just your twin. All right, I got y'all. I'm gonna respond to it because I think we can have this Kevin Porter Jr. conversation. We can have it. Kevin Porter Jr., I ain't never scared of y'all. If I had a Bernie Mac there, I ain't never scared of y'all. I ain't running from none of it. All right, I said it, I said it, I said it, I said it. Kevin Porter Jr.'s talent is right there with Penny Hardaway. If he ever puts it together between the ears, y'all gonna see. All right. Toronto Raptors. Scotty Barnes, 23 years old. Brandon Ingram, 27 years old. Manuel Quickly, 26 years old. RJ Barrett, 25. Jakob Poto, 29. Achai Agbaji, 25. Colin Murray Boyles, thought that was a horrible draft pick instead of Kamen Malawach, who filled a position of need. Now they're going to have to depend upon Colin Castleton off the bench behind Jakob Poto. Man, that's going to suck if Poto ever gets hurt. Now you ain't got a center. And then they got Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter, AJ Lawson, Jonathan Mobo, Jamal Sheed. Look, they have too much damn talent on this team. Period. Barnes, Ingram, Quickly, Barrett, Podol, it's five. Agbaji, Murray Boyles, Dick, Walter, Lawson. Mobo, Sheed. You can't have all these guys. You're not going to have enough playing time. You're not. A consolidation trade is got to be coming, especially as good as Jacoby Walter looked last season. They have to be thinking, man, maybe we don't have to pay RJ Barrett 27 million, 29 million. Because the reality is RJ Barrett's going to be unrestricted free agent in 2 seasons. And he's probably the oddball out. He's probably the oddball out. Now, I keep saying Masai Ujiri is going to end up being the Lakers general manager or team president in a couple of years. He's amazing at what he does. Brought an incredible amount of talent. He knows how to structure a team, even if it doesn't work out because guys get injured. You can't control that, but your ability to create a vision for a team, draft extremely well to bring in the talent, and then bring in the free agents to put it together at his level. There's just very few front office people who have shown that ability. This team, he's leaving an organization in great shape. In great shape. All they need is health. That's it. That's it. Um, that's it. All I say is I don't know the direction that they're going in with Masai out. I don't know, and I think we will find out soon. The fact that there's already talk of RJ Barrett being on the trading block, which I'm not shocked about, um, says that they could be shifting in some ways, potentially going younger, trying to extend that window. But, the reality is they're already young. The guys that they're depending upon are all in their entering their primes. Brandon Ingram, quickly, Barrett, Portal. But then they got guys like Scotty Barnes, only 23. Um, and then Jacoby Walter, right? It's only 20 years old, but he looks ready to potentially start as well and get major minutes. So I think the Toronto Raptors are in a very interesting place where they can go a lot of different directions, but they have the talent. And with Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, I think they're going to give this roster a chance to get off the floor and see what they can do by the trade deadline. If they have injuries, they don't get out the gate well, expect moves to be made. Either the coach, RJ Barrett, and dominoes to fall from there. Otherwise, uh, I think they could be as dangerous as anybody. This collection of talent, length, defense, versatility, shot making, skill is as elite. Say that 3 times fast. Is as elite as any team in the East. They have talent. Can they put it all together? They'll have a training camp. If I was the Raptors, shoot, I mean, I know there's some changing of the guard in the front office, but I would go someplace, I don't know, like Vancouver for a training camp and just get all my guys in a place where it's just us and build that chemistry. Bring these guys together. Let the coach have them for a full training camp and be like, this is what we're going for. If so, I've got them as a top 4 or 5. Like I have them not having to be in the play-in to be in the playoffs. But like always, knock on wood, it's about injuries. You got to stay healthy. All right, with that, uh Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe, was the team that was brought up next. But I want to get back to y'all. Are y'all trying to come for me? Andrew Love and Ed Robinson. Come for me. I ain't trip. I ain't never scared. You come for me. You come for me. We can talk about it. All right. Look. Kevin Porter Jr. is that guy. Thank you, Bronze. He just don't have that drive or passion to be great. You know what? I don't know if it's necessarily the drive. I honestly think it's the maturity. He doesn't know how to be a man yet. If I keep it a band with you, I'm older, man. Look, you're gonna go through stuff in life. You have to figure yourself out. You gotta know yourself. You gotta know your flaws. You gotta know your faults. You gotta know the things that you are working on. You gotta know what it means for you to be able to structure your life so you can show up to be the best person you can be, regardless of the situation. But to do that, you gotta know yourself. Let me see. My daughter's showing me a toy. Oh, okay, She putting together outfits on a toy. Ah, ooh, and the hairstyle. Okay. Do your thing. Oh, you put the little pin in it? Or with the rubber band? Oh, I see what you did. The rubber band with the little hair clip? Oh, that's what's up. Ooh, you should take a picture on your little phone. And that way you can record it. Yeah. It's on the charger over there. All right. What's right here? Oh yeah, it is. Oh, don't do that. It'll heat up fast. All right, let me get back to it. Kevin Porter Jr. I think it's between the ears. It's a maturity thing. He's got to learn himself so he can show up consistently because that really is what it means to be a professional. You got to know your ups and your downs. You got to know how to get yourself revved up for big games. You got to know how to prepare. You got to know, hey, I struggle with getting to sleep, so I'm gonna have this plan to make sure I get sleep. Right? You got to know, hey, I tend to get too locked in on the ball and lose sight of my man, and then he backdoor cuts me. So I got to have a process to make sure that I'm consistently aware of getting potentially, backdoor cut behind me. Right? Like that's what it means to be a professional. You have to know yourself. You don't have to be perfect. You just got to know yourself so you can show up consistently. That's what he has to figure out. And I think with Doc Rivers in his ear, Giannis Antetokounmpo being a family man, hopefully he takes him under his wing a little bit. Gary Harris is also a really good veteran to have around him. Um, he is going to need that type of environment. I don't know if Kyle Kuzma can do anything for him. Hopefully they're not kicking it at all. I don't want them kicking it at all. But Bobby Portis, go kick it with Bobby Portis, fam. You know what I mean? Go kick it with the grown folks, and learn something. I hope they come around him, give him the support that he needs, so that he can be his best self. If he does, I think he's going to be really good, really good. Yes, he's really bad on defense. He wouldn't be the first All Star player who's bad on defense, but I think that they have enough to cover for him. Um, Let me see. I followed Porter since he was in high school. He looks like any other fringe NBA talent, just a role player. Okay, all right, you capping. I'm not even gonna follow it. No need to look. I seen him play. No highlights. All right, all right. So then, yeah, all right. So if you're not willing to look, and you're just gonna say he's just a fringe level talent, okay. So then that's just your perspective. We definitely disagree. We definitely disagree. If you think his athleticism is just run of the mill, his ball handling is, of course, everybody has that ball handling. Everybody jumps like that. Everybody moves like that. Everybody makes those types of shots. Everybody has those highlight dunks. If you think everybody plays like that, then you're capping. You don't watch the NBA. You don't watch it. Period. I'm sorry. I'm gonna call you. I'm sorry, bro. And I'm not sorry. If you're telling me that Kevin Porter Jr.'s talent, his physical talent, athleticism at 6'5", with that level of ball handling, passing ability, shot creation, finishing, you name me 5 to 10 other players at 6'5", 6'6", 6'4", in that range, a guard who has that type of skill and physical athletic ability and put all of that together. That's not an all-star. That's not an all-star. Name them. Name them. Challenge you right now. Name them. You said he's run of the mill. You said he's basic. You said he's a fringe level talent. You said is barely a reason why he's in the NBA. He's just lucky to be there, right? You think he's just a TJ McConnell rotation guy. What has he done since Andrew Love? You're not even willing to watch his highlights to see what he's done. And obviously, you don't know the situation that he had a bad situation. I'm not disregarding that. I'm talking about his talent. I'm not talking about his productivity. I'm talking about his talent. There's a difference. There's a difference. There's a difference. Kevin Porter Jr. is talent. You can't name me 5 to 10 other guards. If you think he's basic, think he's run of the mill, who have his level of athleticism, fast twitch, quick first step, explosiveness at the rim, end to end speed with the ball in his hands, passing ability, shooting, shot creation, playmaking, all in the package of a 6'5" guard. You think that's basic? Everybody has that. Name them. Because right now I don't see you naming nobody. You calling me out, I'm calling you out, Ed. Porter scores good on a bad team. All right. That's what you think. That's what you think. You think he's just a good scorer on a bad team. Milwaukee obviously thinks well enough for him to start him next to Giannis. They think he's a potential starting level point guard. You think he's just a run of the mill backup. Tell me, who else? I'll wait. I'm waiting, Ed. Are you saying that he's a better player than McConnell? Okay, this is linguistics. This is language. I keep telling you, his productivity is not the same of a Penny Hardaway. It's his talent. If he spent 4 years in college and had a dad who was his coach raising him, he's probably Kyrie Irving. Instead, he grew up with a lot of tragedy and had to grow up a lot on his own without the support systems that we would hope most of us would have growing up. As a byproduct, he has had a different learning curve in terms of maturity throughout his early career. That has impacted his performance in terms of consistency and reliability. Listen to what I'm saying. It's not his talent, it's the between the ears. Thank you. Thank you, Team Savant. They don't understand what I'm talking about. They act like they ain't never seen an immature, extremely talented player in the NBA, right? If Lamar Odom was a little bit more mature, right? How his career could have been. If Eddie Curry was a little bit more mature, right? How could his career have, right? Ron Artest, Zion Williamson. You act like we don't see immature players who don't maximize their talent. John Morant, right? I can go on, bro. Just because you're not producing consistently because you haven't had the maturity to show up as a man in a man's league. And this is a man's league. The same you can't just be it ain't about just growing up in the hood, Andrew Love. It's about support systems. You listen to Penny Hardaway's story. He he had it here. LeBron, he didn't have all the support systems, right? He had it here though. He surrounded himself with the right friends, the right peer group. I've met LeBron James' high school coach, middle school coach. They said he had it here. He understood what he needed to do. His maturity at his age plus his talent is what has him in that GOAT conversation. If you don't have it between the ears, if you don't have the maturity to match your talent, that will stunt your growth. I've been watching the young guns on the Timberwolves in the summer league, Rob Dillingham and TJ Shannon doing work. We can get to them next. I'm supposed to be talking about Cleveland right now, but they arguing with me about Kevin Porter Jr.'s talent. I'm telling you, his talent is crazy high. It's crazy y'all can't see his skill and talent at Kevin Porter Jr. It's crazy to me. It just sounds like they trolling me, but I don't mind arguing because I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. Come up in it. Come up in some smoke, bro. I grew up in smoke. I grew up in smoke. Call me the fireman. I put it all out. Come at me with a weak argument. You ain't did your homework. You capping. You just trolling. Got something for all of that. Got something for all of that. Let's get back to what my man brought up with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think they did the right thing by doubling down on that roster because you're not getting back. Yeah, it's getting a little spicy up in here. Sometimes it needs to be. Sometimes it needs to be, right? You caught me on a good day with energy, had a nap, had a good meal, staying hydrated out here. Now let's be real. The Cleveland Cavaliers, you ain't never getting a roster this good again. It's going to be another 15 years before you're a number one seed. They need to ride this out for as long as humanly possible. I don't care if they're in the second apron. I don't care if they're in the third apron. They need to keep this going for us because you're not going to get here for another 15 years. You lucked out. You lucked out. You got Donovan Mitchell because he just wanted to get the hell out of Utah. I don't even know why they have a franchise there. Don't nobody want to play in Utah. Utah should be a EuroLeague squad. That's what it should be. A bunch of guys who don't really live there, only there throughout the season, and then they go back to Europe and then they enjoy themselves there. You know who don't mind being in Utah? People who have a home and a family and community someplace else. I'm just keeping it a band with you. Keeping it a band, man. Culturally speaking, things to do. Look, it's weird down there, bro. It's weird. It's weird, bro. They got a weird history, man. You talking about racism down there? Crazy racism. What you need? You listen to the music on the other phone device, baby. On the phone. That's because you had it between the couch, mommy. Kids, man, you gotta love them. I love my daughter. She be singing. I don't know. Oh, one second. My daughter. Love my baby. All right. Uh, uh, all right. And connect. Boom. Listen to your music. She's staying up late. It's summertime, and they get to stay up late. It's summertime. Cleveland Cavaliers, great job. Keep the team together as long as humanly possible, because ain't nobody really trying to get there like that. They drafted pretty well. I think Jalen Tyson is going to be able to take Max Struess's spot eventually when he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2 years. DeAndre Hunter will also become an unrestricted free agent in 2 years. So they will have some adjusting to do then. I think they will need to draft to begin to replace those guys because the guys that they cannot lose are the big four: Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell. Those guys will continue to cost them, though they are locked into those salaries for the next 3 years. So that's their window. If I keep it 100 with you, next 3 years is their window. When Donovan Mitchell is 31 years old, going on 32, eligible for an unrestricted free agency, that's when they can review. Darius Garland will also be an unrestricted free agent after 3 years. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen are still locked in. All right. Bringing in Lonzo Ball, I thought that was a great move. Being able to have Hunter Struess, Lonzo, Dean Wade, Jalen Tyson. I like Craig Porter Jr. as well. Larry Nance Jr. bringing him back was a great pickup. I like Tyrese Proctor. I think he's going to be able to play a nice role for them off the bench, and Sam Merrill as well. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys off the bench. They're going to have depth. They're going to have real depth. And they're going to need it because they have an injury prone top four. That's just the name of the game. It is what it is. You got your talent, you compiled it, you got your coach, um, you got your system. You were the number one seed. You ride this thing out. If you're Cleveland, you ride it out. And you know what they also have to do? And this is the big pressure from the front office. You have to draft hella good. Like not just you got to draft because you're essentially drafting your replacement guys for the guys you won't be able to continue to afford to resign. The Max Struesses, DeAndre Hunters, the Sam Merrills eventually, Craig Porter, Lonzo Ball, um, those guys, you're not going to be able to resign them. You're already in that second April. You're going to have to get out eventually. It's going to cost you too much. So you're going to have guys that can take their spot. And so that's going to be the pressure on the front office to make sure that they stay stacked with talent, um, that's developing. that's looking good in the summer league, looking good in the G League, getting minutes, balling out, ready to go. That's what they need because that was the OKC, Indiana Pacers, really cheat code is that they had so much talent in the wings waiting to play that they could sustain themselves through injuries. They could sustain themselves through uh, needing to trade off of a guy, right? When Josh Giddey, we realized we can't play you in the playoffs, bro. You don't defend well enough and you don't score well enough. And we're not going to take the ball out of SGA's hands, put it in your hands. So, you know what? We're going to flip you for a player that allows us to really take the next step. Alex Caruso. Now they got a championship. Next team. Let me see. Let me see. Uh Timberwolves. Boom. I like what they did. I like what they did. If you notice, there is a trend in the NBA right now. The trend is you want to put together the right collection of talents that allows you to compete at the highest level. But then you have to fill in the back end of your roster. You have to continue to develop guys so that they are able to give you the depth you need to sustain yourself through injury so you can maintain your winning even when injuries happen. Because if you can't, you will have a team that's potentially should make a deep run in the East or the West, and you won't even be in the playoffs. Or you're a play-in team, first round exit. You don't even get out of the play-in. And that is disastrous for an organization in the front office. But here's the catch 22. There's too much talent in the NBA to not be competitive. So is you're gonna have a hard time justifying why you're not competing for a playoff spot, especially when you're healthy. If you can't put a winning team that has a chance to make the playoffs, if you don't have a roster that has a chance to make the playoffs and you're deliberately losing, you're a trash front office exec. And that's shots right at Danny Ainge. Trash, trash, trash. You have a good coach. You had talented players last year. There was no excuse for not being in the running for a playoff spot. Oh, you were tanking to get Cooper Flag? I'm glad the NBA made sure you didn't get Cooper Flag. Matter of fact, if you do it again, I hope they make sure you don't get AJ DeBonsa and Darren Peterson. Shoot, I don't even want you to get Cam Boozer or Brown Jr. I want you to end up with that fifth, sixth pick. That's who I want you to end up with again. Because you out here playing in our face. You playing in our face. There is no excuse for every team. There is no excuse for every team not to be competitive. Absolutely no excuse. Absolutely no excuse. Let me see. Who else? Who else y'all want to talk about next? The Minnesota Timberwolves. Let me just go through the roster. Anthony Edwards is only 23 years old. It's crazy that he's only 23 years old, bro. He's like in year 5, 6, and only 23 years old. Rudy Gobert at 33. They need to find that future backup, which I think they already have. Johan Beringer. Yo, let me just be clear. This dude, he looks legit. He looks legit. And when I say legit, I think he stands what 6'10", 6'11" without shoes. Let me just pull up his draft measurements. I got this on tap. Draft combine. Uh this year's no, not 25, 26. 25. Um no. So it is 25, 26. Beringer. He stands 6'11" barefoot, 9'3" standing reach, 7'4" and a half wingspan. He's a 7-footer, good length, springy athlete. His floor right now is Derek Lively, but he's a better shot blocker in terms of timing and patience. He's always in position, aware of the ball, his man, and the timing to decide between the two. He maintains verticality while also being able to have an angle to challenge shots without fouling. It's a very unique skill. Keep saying it, a lot of times we just think guys are tall. There is so much skill involved, especially in today's NBA, where guards are looking for a slow footed, slow processing, which is the big part, a slow processing, mentally processing big man. They can't wait because they're going to put you into action, draw a foul on you, get an and one, and they look good, right? These are the Mo Bambas, right? You have a lot of good tools, good skill, but you don't process the game fast enough. There's a new iteration of NBA players and bigs and young guys coming in who process at a high level, even if their skills are still needing to be developed. They're processors. Playing behind Rudy Gobert. Woo. They're both French. Beringer or Beringer, however you pronounce his name, Johan Beringer. It's a French dude playing behind an all-time great French big man. Make no mistake about it. Rudy Gobert has tons to teach this young man, and he's going to have him as a mentor. He's going to have him right there. There's a good chance Beringer looks great. Great. Ed Robinson, get to the rest of the. Oh, you're talking about guys who have the same Jaden Hardy? Nope. Much smaller, nowhere near the shot creator, or ball handling or passing. Brandon Boston Jr., really talented, actually, but doesn't have the level of shot making. Rob Dillingham, close, only 6'2", 6'3". Terrence Shannon, hell no, come on, man. He was just in the G League, bro. Nick Smith Jr., now you're capping. AJ Johnson, wasn't he just in the G League? Don't mention guys who are in the G League, bro. Gigi Jackson, nowhere near the passer, nowhere near the ball handler, playmaker, or shot creator. Kobe Buffkin, nowhere near the athlete, or confidence. Confidence level, there's only a few on that list. Maybe Rob Dillingham, who has the confidence level of a Kevin Porter Jr. Absolutely unconscious. Cam Christie, now you're smoking something, bro. Stay off the meth and the amphetamines. It's not a good walk of life. It's just not gonna. Jalen Clark, is he even in the NBA right now? Playing for Minnesota. What is he? Number 15 on. You're comparing a starting level point guard to a number 14. You're capping, bro. You're capping. Um, Josh Christopher, who's not even in the NBA, he's back in the G League, bro. What are you talking about? Cam Thomas, does he ever pass the ball? Max Lewis? Who? Antonio Reed? Who? Bro. So obviously, you need to go back and look at Kevin Porter. Go on you and get your twin. And y'all go have a powwow and look at Kevin Porter Jr. highlights. Go look at his measurables, his vertical. Look at how fast and elite his skill with the ball in his hands is. Bring up Cam Thomas. I don't think he's passed the ball in 6 years. You're comparing him to a guy who can get you 7 to 11 assists in a game. Set the table for a playoff team. What are we talking about, Ed? What are we talking about? Since when is he a starting level point guard? Since today. He's listed as Milwaukee's starting point guard. Bro, look, I'm just saying, man. Look, I'm all for living your life freely, but there's some drugs you shouldn't do. There's some drugs you just shouldn't do. It's not worth it. Weed is now legal. Have a puff, take a deep breath, get some fresh air, get some sunlight. You know what I mean? You can't watch it. It's sad. All right. Who we got next? What team Do we got next? But I do want to finish with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I really love Johan Behringer for them. I think he extends their window past the Rudy Gobert end of his contract. That last season is a player option at 38 million. I think he opts into that. It's not a bad contract at all. 35, 36, 38 million for a defensive player of the year, first team all defense, anchoring big, who I think is going to age pretty well, especially with Behringer behind him. And then they still got Nas Reed. They were able to retain Nas Reed and Julius Randle. They do need to update on Hoop Reference Nas Reed's contract, though it may not be officially released. But they got Randle and Nas Reed still. Dante DiVincenzo, I think he's going to have a much better year. Him and Randall are going to have better years now that they're not dealing with the aftermath of the trade from New York. I said it from the beginning. I think that they really struggled with that. Both of them were caught off guard. It hit both of them hard because the chemistry on that New York team, especially for DiVincenzo, was so tight. A bunch of Villanova boys, right? Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, like those are guys he played college ball with. Like playing back with those guys gave him an all time level of confidence. Um, and I think going to Minnesota, just communally, environment, expectations, like it was just a huge culture shift. It was a big shift for those guys, and you could tell their energy. It took a lot, but I think they're going to be bought in around Anthony Edwards. See the opportunity to win big now. They were just in the Western Conference Finals. I think they come back. That could be a team I could see break through. They could break through and come out of the West. And one of the few teams that can legitimately say that. One of the few teams that can legitimately say that. They're going to be deep. Mike Conley, they do have to find a replacement for. Oh God, they got to find a replacement for him. Um, Rob Dillingham, I think he starts looking like a six man of the year. Him and Dante DiVincenzo come in and give major minutes. I think they both average somewhere close to 20 something minutes a game, but they got to get the ball out of Anthony Edwards' hands in terms of setting the table. He does not need to be playing point guard. He does not. It will be egregious if he has to continue to play point guard as much as he has. He gets worn out. Hopefully, Rob Dillingham is able to come in, even if he's a scoring point guard, right? I don't care. Look, hey, Tony Parker can work if you create an offensive system around him where you don't expect him to get you 7+ assists a game. If you can develop a system where 5 to 6 assists are good and he's getting you an efficient 18 or more points per game on good efficiency, right? That still works. That still works. But they're gonna have to figure it out there. They have to figure it out in Minnesota because Anthony Edwards, year after year, he looks worn out. He looks worn out. And as a 22, 23-year-old, that doesn't bode well for his long term for his knees, right? You don't want to Derrick Rose him where you overplay him and then now he's hurt. You got to figure out getting him a running mate partner. And if I'm honest with you, I think it happens by the trade deadline. I think they find out if Rob Dillingham, between Dillingham and DiVincenzo, I think. All right, let me take a moment to think about this and say it clearly. Can Rob Dillingham be the heir apparent to Mike Conley? That's what they will figure out by the trade deadline of this upcoming season. Can he set the table and distribute well enough? Get the team in their offense while maintaining his scoring efficiency, shot creation, shot making. Can he be that guy? If he can, if he can, they double down on him and eventually he takes Mike Conley's spot probably by next season, right? Mike Conley's going to be a free agent after this year, right? If not, they go out and they get that guy. They go out and they get that guy. They trade for him. They go find him. They go find him because Anthony Edwards needs a running mate. They've got to find it. They have to. And it can't be a guy that you're just drafting and hoping he develops. You can't do that to Anthony Edwards. He's too special of a talent. If that's the run of the mill that he finds himself in, he doesn't feel like he has what he's going to need to win in Minnesota, he's gone. I keep telling you, when you have a superstar, if you have a superstar as a small market team, you have basically a 7-year window, 4 years in the rookie deal, the extension, but you really only have 3 years before the player options generally kick in. Even though they can give him a 5-year max extension, most of the time they only want 4 because they can still make more money by opting out and then extending. But more than likely, they are gone. They usually let you know 2 years after the extension if they're going to resign, if they're going to re up. So I would say Minnesota has one, two, they have 2 more years of a locked in Anthony Edwards. After that, they're going to start talking to him like, so, hey, you're eligible for an extension. Do you want to extend? And he might, but he might also say, extend me and then trade me. It's completely feasible. Minnesota has to get it right. You have to build a contender around him. He needs another guard that he can go toe to toe with OKC with, that he can go toe to toe with Denver with, that he can go toe to toe with the best of the West. He can't keep getting left out in the cold. No one else who can initiate offense, break down the defense, and make plays and make the game easier for him. He needs a running mate in the backcourt. All right, who do you want me to get to next? Otherwise, we got to wrap it. Man, it's been a long one. Kevin Porter, man, you guys are still on this Kevin Porter. Man, give it up. Does Boston have a pulse? Ooh, my man Doug. My man Doug. My man Doug. Doug, you and me, man, I don't know you, but I know you. And every time I see you, it's love. And I appreciate that. It's real. It's like I see you in the streets and it's like, what's good? What's good? We may not kick it every day. We may not hang out, or you may not always be over the crib. But when I be out and about and I see you, oh my man, that's how I feel when I see you in the chat, bro. That's for real. That's for real. 100, man. I'm not even fronting. Um, I love that you brought up Boston. I love that you brought up Boston because I've been kind of like weighing in on this idea of what Boston can be next season. Boston is in a very interesting space because with Tatum out for the year, one, it's going to be Jalen Brown's kind of proving to the world I can be a number one. It really is. It's kind of the only thing left for him to prove. It really is. He's a champion, NBA Finals MVP, multiple time All. He's a perennial All Star. Perennial. He'll be back again and again and again. You could pencil him in, just like Donovan Mitchell. But can you be in that? Because I don't think anybody thinks of him as a superstar. What's up? You're right. It is getting late. It is getting late. Okay. I put this kid to bed. You can sit right here. Sit right here. This is the last thing for Jalen Brown to prove. Can he lead a team into the playoffs? I don't think anybody sees him as a superstar. It doesn't mean that you can't prove you're on that level, right? There were guys who have to prove it. He has the athleticism. He has the skill. He has the talent. He has the mindset, the maturity, the leadership. Now he has the opportunity. A full season of no Tatum. This can go one of two directions. One direction, I think we all found out he was kind of injured. He was hurt in the playoffs. If it's a little bit more serious than we realize, that could be that Jalen Brown uses the beginning of next season and most of the year to just recover and rest, which I'm not mad at. Remember, these guys play nonstop high school ball. His 1 year at Cal, into the pre-draft process, summer league, making the team with Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, and then here comes Tatum the next year, and he's playing on winning Marcus Smart and Al Horford, and he's on these winning teams and expected to win, and all of a sudden he's thrust into this position where he's now next to Tatum leading a team into the playoffs, and then he's leading a team into the Eastern Conference Finals, and it's been nonstop grind. So if he's taking this year off, gap year, I understand it. I'm not mad. He's a human being. And if I'm honest with you, it would bode well for the rest of his career. A gap year could give him an opportunity to rest up and have a really good second half of his career. At 28 years old, 29, 30, 31, 32. Keeping in mind, he's under contract for the foreseeable future through 28, 29. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4 years under contract. No opt out. More than likely, he's looking at an extension at 32 years old. This was probably his last major contract. Tatum too. Um, or he can go another route. He can go the legacy route. And the legacy route is you average between 25 and 27. 27 is probably the magic number. You average 27 points a game. And you lead this Boston Celtics team to a top 3, 4 seed. You show that you're him, that you're just that good. And you take Derek White, Anthony Simons, who's in a contract year, so you know he's going to ball out in his prime at 26 years old for the first time, playing for something since Damian Lillard for the past 3 years hasn't really, 2 years hasn't really played for anything. And you take Sam Hauser, George Niang, Peyton Pritchard, Hugo Gonzalez, who I actually like. I like Sherman too. Xavier Tillman, Namias Keita, Luca Garza, Josh Minot was an interesting grab. I like Josh Minot. I like him a lot. But you take this team, you take Jalen Brown off this team. This is a lottery team. Let's be clear. You take Jalen Brown off of this team, they are a lottery team. It can go one of two directions. Boston Celtics, Jalen Brown, hey, rest, chill. Recoup your energy, get 150% healthy. And we probably won't make the playoffs this year. You'll play sporadically towards the end when it's already decided. We'll sit you, rest you, and we'll come back next year with Tatum, high draft pick. Maybe you end up with somebody like, I don't know, Darren Peterson, all right? Cam Boozer. Wouldn't he be a Boston Celtic if there ever was one, all right? Um, maybe that's the route they go. But there's also the legacy route. And you drop 27 a game. You're in the MVP conversation. Your first team all NBA. And you lead this team to a top seed in the East. Because you would be dragging them. You will be dragging them. Along with Anthony Simons. I think Anthony Simons is going to get you 20 plus points per game. But Derek White ain't. Derek White's going to, great defense, uh, efficient shooting, offense. He's going to give you that too. He's going to give you that. But he's not necessarily going to be counted upon to score a lot for you. They're going to have to figure out power forward position. Maybe George Niang. You don't really want to have to start George Niang. Yeah, you got Tillman, Keita. This is really not a really good team, if I'm honest with you. It's not. Big hole, big question mark at the center. Let's see if Nehemiah Queta, at 26 years old, who's been on this roster for a while, is he ready? Is he ready? 7-footer who could block shots, finish around the rim. Um, they have Luca Garza, who I think is a really good pick. Play for the Pistons. Bounced around, always a high skill, uh, talented scorer, very skillful big, who can give you valuable minutes. Maybe they do it by committee. Xavier Tillman as well, and then you've got George Niang, the minivan, right? This is not a playoff team unless Jaylen Brown says otherwise. I'll be really interested. I think you will hear early. Either he's coming into training camp, and what you hear is, "Man, he's on demon time. He's on a mission. He's out here. He's just, oh, he's locked in. Man, he's coming. He's rallying the troops, saying, 'Hey, let's go.'" And if they do, if that's what happens, expect them to make a move. Expect them to make a move to get him some front court help to make a push for the playoffs. If not, if it's quiet, if he's sitting out preseason, kind of lax in training camp, doesn't look like they're locked in at the beginning of the season, preseason, we know what direction that they're heading because he would have to drag this team into the playoffs. Let me see. Any other team you want me to cover before I hop off? Man, we've been on this for a long time. I compare Sasser to Lou Williams. Sounded like you don't watch. Oh man, y'all. Then you get in your feelings. Then you don't get mad. Look, man, we just talking, man. Hey, it is what it is. You don't see what I see. You ain't got to. You ain't got to. We ain't. Human beings have never all had to have the same perspective for us to all exist together. All right. You don't think Sasser's a bucket like Lou Williams, natural scorer. Okay. Okay. 2 6'2" guards who get buckets. Okay. You don't see the comparison. All right. You don't think Kevin Porter Jr. is anything more than a fringe 15th man on a roster rotation, G leaguer at best. That's what you think. You don't think he has elite talent. Okay. We shall see. But if he starts for the Bucks and he's averaging somewhere around 18 to 20 points a game, 7 plus assists, and he's making highlight reels as he was last season for the Bucks, then you'll have some explaining to do. Or, like most people, you just get real quiet and you don't ever come back on here to give me my props and say you was right. But you know what? I was right about Ron Holland. I was right about Asar Thompson. I was right about Bobby Clement. I was right about Jalen Duren. I was right about Jaden Ivey. I was right about a lot of things. And I've also gotten stuff wrong. I tell you what, if he doesn't pan out, I'll be the first one on this channel to let you know I got it wrong. He couldn't figure it out maturity wise. I won't back down on the talent, but that he's not an NBA player. If he doesn't pan out, he ends up off the team and dealing with more off court issues and can't seem to get right. And next you know, he's off the roster. And I'll be the first one to be like, hey, I thought he was gonna be able to put it all together. I do. I truly do. I think he's in a great situation to put it all together. And if he doesn't, I'll be the first one to say I got it wrong. But if I got it right, will you have the moxie? We used that word in the last show. Will you have the wherewithal? Will you have the maturity? Will you have, almost like a UFC fight, right? You see these guys fight and they all come in confident, ready to go, and then they get knocked the hell out. And then they stand there, the referee goes, and the winner by unanimous decision, they raise his hand. And you know what the other guy does? He turns, he faces him, he goes, respect, respect. You got me. Will you have it to come back on here when the regular season starts? If I'm right, if I'm right, I keep receipts. Andrew Love, Ed Robinson, will you have it in you to come back on here, get in this chat? Matter of fact, shoot, I'm gonna call you out. You, you need to send me a super chat if I'm right. If he's starting for the Milwaukee Bucks, I don't care if you give me 10 cents on a super chat. Say it with your chest. Keep the same energy, bro. Keep the same energy. Because I'll have to have the same energy if I'm wrong about Kevin Porter Jr. I'll keep the same energy if I'm wrong. That's just all heart. I told you, I'm 100 grand with it. 100 grand. Call it like I see it. If I get it wrong, hey, respect. Hey, you had it. But if I'm right though, bro, if I'm right, come late October, yeah. Doug, appreciate you, man. I need to hop off. 100 minutes. I don't think I've ever gone this long. Today was fun. Today was fun. Keep watching Summer League. We'll see these other teams, these other talents. Plenty of teams to talk about. I'll probably get on here again to talk about more teams in the offseason. So many teams to talk about from the Pacers, right? Johnny Furphy looks really good. Jairus, you know, I'm not gonna reel about Marcus Sasser. We could talk about that next time, Andrew. Next time I'm live, hope you smash the like button and hit and subscribe so you can know when I'm live again. So we can talk about Marcus Sasser. We can always get in on Marcus Sasser. I got past videos on him. We can always talk about. But I'm gonna keep doing this where we talk about different teams and their offseason, how they're looking throughout the summer league, acquisitions, where they're going. We'll go through the rosters and stuff like that. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this live that went long as hell on a Sunday night, smash that like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. It's your man, 100 Grand Ross for The Rock Never Stops. And I appreciate all of you in this community. Y'all kicking it with me. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a beautiful night. Get some rest. Sleep is golden. Peace.